Okay, in this video, we're going to look at chemical formula and how to write the chemical formulas of different compounds. So, chemical formula. What is a chemical formula? A chemical formula is a formula that shows how many atoms of a particular element or multiples of elements are present in a particular chemical compound. It is a formula that shows how many atoms, it shows the number of atoms of a particular element or multiples of elements present in a particular compound. So for example, carbon dioxide. Carbon dioxide is a compound, is a chemical compound. So the formula for carbon dioxide, the chemical formula of carbon dioxide is CO2. So from this chemical formula, it shows that carbon dioxide contains one carbon atom and two oxygen atoms. So this is the chemical formula of carbon dioxide. This is the chemical formula of carbon dioxide. It shows how many atoms of a particular element or multiples of elements are present in a particular compound. So in this compound, there is one carbon atom and two oxygen atoms. So, having known the meaning of a chemical formula, let's look at how to write a chemical formula of a compound, how to write the chemical formula of a compound. So, how do we write the chemical formula of a compound? To write the chemical formula of a compound, there are steps that we follow. The first step is to write out the entities. The second step is to write out their symbols. The third step is to write out the oxidation number of the atoms that are involved or the element. Then the fourth step is to write out their valencies. The fifth step is to exchange the valencies. And then the sixth step is to write them down. So let's look at this question. Write the chemical formula of sodium chloride. Write the chemical formula of sodium chloride. So the first thing you want to do is to write out the entities. So what are the entities? When you hear the word, the name of this compound, sodium chloride, what comes to your mind? The two elements that should come to your mind is sodium and chlorine. So the two entities that are in this compound are sodium and chlorine, sodium chloride. So the second step is to write out the symbol. So what's the symbol of sodium? The symbol of sodium is Na. Symbol of chlorine is Cl. Then the third step is to write out the oxidation number of these elements. So the oxidation number of sodium is Na plus, and the oxidation number of chlorine is minus. How did I know? So from the periodic table, elements in group 1 they have oxidation number of plus 1. Elements in group 2 have oxidation number of plus 2. Elements in group 3 have oxidation number of plus 3. Elements in group 4 have oxidation number of plus 2 or plus 4. Elements in group 5 they have oxidation number of minus 3. That is the group number 5 minus 8. 5 minus 8 will give you minus 3, or they can have an oxidation number of plus 5. Usually, it ranges from minus 3 to plus 5 in some of them. So elements in group 6, usually they will have an oxidation number of minus what? 2. Elements in group 7 have an oxidation number of minus 1. And elements in group 8 have an oxidation number of 0. So this is very important. Elements in group 1 have oxidation number of plus 1. Elements in group 2 have oxidation number of plus 2. Elements in group 3 have oxidation number of plus 3. Elements in group 4, they have the oxidation number of plus 4 or plus 2. Elements in group 5, they have the oxidation number of minus 3 or plus 5. And usually in some of them, it ranges from -3 to +5. Elements in group Cs, they have oxidation number of -2, while elements in group 7 have oxidation number of -1. Elements in group 8 have 0 oxidation number. So sodium is in group 1. So this is hydrogen, this is lithium, this is sodium. So sodium is in group 1, and so it has an oxidation number of what? +1. So the oxidation number of sodium is +1. But 1 is insignificant. That is why we don't write it most times. But if you choose to write it, it's still correct. So the oxidation number of sodium is what? +1. The oxidation number of chlorine is in group 7. This is fluorine, this is chlorine. So chlorine has an oxidation number of what? -1. -1. So if you decide to put the -1 there, you are correct. If you decide to put only minus there, you are correct. Because 1 times plus will still give you plus. 1 times minus will still give you minus. 1 is an insignificant number. So the next step is to write out the valency. The valency is the charge, is the oxidation number. The valency is the oxidation number minus the charge. So when you remove the charge, it becomes the valency. When you remove the charge from the oxidation number, that becomes your valency. So if I remove the charge from this oxidation number, I will have 1. So the valency of sodium is 1 and the valency of chlorine is what? 1. Valency is the oxidation number minus the charge. You just remove the charge, write off the charge, and then you have your valency. Valency is simply the combining power of an element. So the next thing is to exchange the valency. Bring this one, bring this one with this way. So since both are the same, what we do is to cancel them out, and 1 is an insignificant number. So 1 times Cl will still be Cl. Sodium times 1 will still be sodium. So the chemical formula of sodium chloride is NaCl. It shows that there is only 1 atom of sodium and 1 atom of chlorine present. So this is the chemical formula of sodium chloride. Let's look at another example. Write the chemical formula of calcium chloride. So the first thing that we want to do is to write out the entities, the elements that are involved. So when you hear the word calcium chloride, what should come to your mind is calcium and chlorine. So the two entities that are here is calcium and chlorine. So the next step is to write out the symbol. What is the symbol of calcium? Calcium is Ca, symbol of chlorine is Cl. Then the next step is to write out the oxidation number. Calcium belongs to group 2. So calcium is in group 2. This is calcium. It belongs to group 2. It's a group 2 element, and so the oxidation number is +2. And that is why we have +2 here, or 2 plus. So this is the oxidation number of calcium. The oxidation number of chlorine is -1 because it is in group 7. And elements in group 7, the oxidation number is what? -1. So the oxidation number of chlorine is -1. So we have it here, oxidation number of chlorine is -1. So like I said, the next step is to write out the valency. When you remove the charge, what you now have is the valency, and it is the combining power of an element. So we have the valency of calcium is 2. Like I said before, when you remove the charge from the oxidation number, that becomes your valency. So writing out the valency, this will be Ca2 and Cl1. Just remove the charge, clean up the charge, and that will become your valency. Then the fifth step is to exchange the valencies. So the two will cross this way and this one will cross this way, right? So you exchange the valencies. Calcium will give chlorine the 2 and chlorine will give calcium the 1. So when you exchange the valencies, this is what you're going to have. You're going to have Ca1, Cl2. And the next step, which is the sixth step, is to write them down. So this will be Ca1, Cl2. So 1 is an insignificant number. 1 times calcium will still be calcium, right? So this will be CaCl2. This is the chemical formula of calcium chloride. So in this chemical formula, it shows that this compound contains 1 atom of calcium, Ca, and 2 atoms of chlorine. So this is very important. Okay, let's look at another example. Write the chemical formula of carbon 4 oxide. Write the chemical formula of carbon 4 oxide. So when you hear the word carbon 4 oxide, what comes to your mind? Carbon and what? Oxygen. Carbon 4 oxide. What should come to your mind is carbon and oxygen. So the first thing that you want to do is to write out the entities. Write out the elements that are involved. So when you hear the word carbon 4 oxide, the 2 elements that should come to your mind is carbon and what? Oxygen. So these are the 2 entities, carbon and oxygen. So the next thing is to write out your symbol. The symbol for carbon is C and the symbol for oxygen is what? O, capital O. Then the third step is to write out the oxidation number. So from this compound carbon 4 oxide, it shows that the oxidation number of carbon is what? 4 plus 4. So that's why we have this plus 4 here. Then the oxidation number of oxygen is what? Oxygen is what? Minus 2 or 2 minus. Oxygen is in group 6. Look at oxygen here. So the oxidation number is what? Minus 2. Minus 2. Carbon is here, is in group 4. And so the oxidation number can be 4, can be plus 4 or plus 2. So the oxidation number of oxygen is what? Minus 2. So that's why we have 2 minus here. Then the next step is to write out the valency. Like I said, remove the charge. If you remove the charge, clean up the charge, what you will have is what? Valency. So the valency of carbon is 4, in this compound is 4, and oxygen is what? 2. Then the next step is to exchange the valencies. So when you exchange these valencies, the 4 goes this way and this 2 goes this way. So the 4 will cross to oxygen and the 2 will cross towards carbon. So when we exchange valency, it will now become C2O4, right? So the next step is to write them down, to write this superscript down, to write these valencies down. So that's the sixth step. So that will be C2O4. C2O4. So 2 here is 1, 2 here is what? 2. So the chemical formula of carbon 4 oxide is CO2. This is our answer, CO2. In this chemical formula, it shows that carbon 4 oxide contains 1 carbon atom and 2 oxygen atoms. So having known all this, let's look at the last example we'll be looking at in this video. So here we're asked to write the chemical formula of aluminium oxide. Aluminium oxide. So when you hear the word aluminium oxide, when you hear the name of this compound, aluminium oxide, what comes to your mind? So the first thing that you want to do is to write out the entities. So what comes to your mind is aluminium, and oxygen. These are the two main entities. These are the two entities in this compound, aluminium oxide. It contains aluminium and oxygen. So what is the symbol of aluminium? Aluminium, the symbol of aluminium is Al, and the symbol for oxygen is what? O. Then the next step is to write the oxidation number of these entities, of these elements. So what is the oxidation number of aluminium? Aluminium is in group 3. Look at aluminium here. It's in group 3. Hydrogen, helium, lithium, beryllium, boron, carbon, nitrogen, oxygen, fluorinium, sodium, magnesium, aluminium. So aluminium is where? Is in group 3. And so the oxidation number is what? Plus 3. Plus 3. The oxidation number of elements in group 1 is plus 1. Oxidation number of elements in group 2 is plus 2. Elements in group 3 is plus 3. And so the oxidation number of aluminium is plus 3. So this is Al plus 3. And the oxidation number of oxygen is in group 6. The oxidation number is what? Minus 2. So here's where we have oxygen. Oxygen is here. The oxidation number is what? Minus 2. That's 6 minus 8. That will give you minus 2. Oxidation number of elements in group 7 is minus 1. How did I get the minus 1? 7 minus 8 will give you that. Oxidation number of elements in group 8 is 8 minus 8, and that will give you 0. Oxidation number of elements in group 5 is 5 minus 8. That will give you minus 3. Or it can be plus 5. So in some of the elements here, the oxidation number ranges from minus 3 to plus 5. Example of such elements is nitrogen. The oxidation number of elements in group 4 can be plus 2 or plus 4. So this is quite easy. So back to our writing of the chemical formula of aluminium oxide. So we've gotten the oxidation number of aluminium and we've gotten the oxidation number of oxygen. The next thing is to write out the valencies. So like I said before, valency is oxidation number minus the charge. So when you remove the charge, what you have is your valency. So the valency of aluminium is Al3 and the valency of oxygen is what? O2. So the next thing is to exchange the valencies. So this will be Al, instead of me to write 3, I will write 2, and what? AO3. So the next thing is to write these valencies down. So this will be Al2O3. So therefore, the chemical formula of aluminium oxide is what? Al2O3. This is the chemical formula of aluminium oxide. In this compound, it shows that aluminium oxide contains 3 oxygen atoms and 2 aluminium atoms. So what you will do for me is to write the chemical formulas of the following compounds.